It is Monday, July 31st, 2023. This is another edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, the traveling man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well, as we are roughly 24 hours away from the trade deadline. It was a crazy weekend, and I think it's going to be an insane 24 hours. I can't wait.
There's still so much to be decided. Teams like they're really on the cusp, and whichever way they decide to go, buyer, seller, stand pat is going to alter everything in the ecosystem that is baseball. So this is very exciting. I love talking about it with you, C Rose. I know we're going to lead off with some big time teams. I think you're wearing the hat of.
I am, but before that, a little tip of the cap to one of our brethren here at John Boy Media from the Rose rotation, none other than Miguel Rojas. For years, he has told us he always wanted to pitch in a slop game. Well, he finally had that chance Sunday against the Cincinnati Reds. Did okay. I love the way he was changing speeds. One pitch was like 43. The next one was 73. That could screw with you a little bit, can it?
Yeah, I honestly don't even know how he did it, because if you're trying to like lob the balls up there, then you try to fire one, it's just the ball feels different in your hand. But Mickey Rose got it all, man. Love that. Love this for him.
Yeah.
Not so much for the Dodgers, but for him.
Yeah, he did give up a run-scoring double to Joey Votto after he had, I'm not going to say brushed him back, but maybe misplaced the baseball a little bit behind him. So it was fun. We'll talk to Miggy somewhere down the road about that. That was really cool. All right, we talked about big-time trades, and we wondered if Justin Verlander was still going to be a Met on Monday. Well, as of the taping of the show, he is, but his buddy Max Scherzer is on the move to this team, whose cap I am donning, the Texas Rangers. They made a ton of moves over the weekend, so they pick up Scherzer in a deal for Ronald Acuna's younger brother, who's 20 years old, and Acuna says he's way more advanced than I was at that age. And then over the weekend, they also pick up Jordan Montgomery as another starter, which isn't bad. And then they also picked up a reliever in Chris Stratton from St. Louis for another couple of prospects. So the Rangers, who've been struggling, they got swept in San Diego this weekend, have just a one-game lead over Houston in the AL West. How do you feel about them with 2 months to go?
Well, I mean, their pitching has been struggling over the last month or so, their starting pitching. So I think that they're taking all the necessary chances to fortify the roster. I mean, essentially, they're going all in. We talk about the Angels going all in. I think what the Rangers are doing is more of like an all-in scenario than them. You know, Eovaldi is banged up right now. I don't know the extent of that injury. It's a forearm strain. I don't think they've come out with some definite timeline, have they?
Well, Bochy said he didn't think it was going to cost him a significant amount of time. They did place him on the injured list, so he's out at least that bit, and they think that they can get him back. But when you're talking about a guy who's had that much arm trouble in his career, I'm sorry, there's nothing minor about what they're talking about.
Yeah, so you go out and get, and you mentioned Montgomery is a nice piece. I mean, this is to me, like a top of the rotation type guy. Like he can be that. So you bring in Scherzer, who we know what he can do. Been up and down this year. You bring in Montgomery, who's a very solid starter, and you're fortifying, a position of need now. They already went out and did the bullpen. I'm feeling really good about them by themselves. Now, if you ask me, like, how do I feel about them in their own division? Like, I don't know how great I'm feeling, and that has more to do with the Astros getting healthy and guys starting to pick it up a little bit. Jordan and Altuve back in, Jose Abreu, go check out what he's done over the last couple of weeks. Like if they get him going, we know what Chas McCormick has done. I believe the Astros are probably going to go after another starting pitcher. So I feel good about the Rangers and what they've been able to do all year long. I know they've had a little bit of a rough patch, but I'm still concerned about them winning the division because of what the Houston Astros are showing as of late, I guess.
I would be surprised if the Rangers won the division.
Oh, baby.
I would be. I
wouldn't be surprised. You wouldn't be surprised. Come on.
Yeah, I would be.
Yeah.
Here's why. I think the least talked about thing this weekend with all the moves they made was the injury to Jonah Heim.
Yeah.
He has been as dependable a catcher as there's been in the big leagues, both sides of the baseball. In terms of stealing strikes, he has been unreal.
Yeah.
And then the season he's had, has been fantastic at the plate. He knows he's going to have wrist surgery. They are, sitting there, putting their hands together and praying to the baseball gods that it's not until November. Because if it's September, this team's going to be screwed.
That's a really fair point because, he has been so good on both, like you mentioned, on both sides of the ball. It's not, we always talk about having an offensive-minded catcher is a cheat code in baseball. He's not just an offensive-minded catcher. He does steal those strikes, so it is difficult. You're not going to be able to replace him. You just won't be able to. You hope that the offense is enough and the pitching you brought in is enough. I think it's a very, very good baseball team. Still, even without Jonah Heim, obviously he takes them to a higher level because of how good he is. But I wouldn't be surprised, Chris, if they won the division. I wouldn't be. But I also wouldn't be surprised if the Astros won the division. So I think it's two good teams going at it.
The other thing about Scherzer, he hasn't had a great year. His velocity has dipped. His ERA is over 4. He's given up the 6th most homers in baseball. So this isn't Max Scherzer. You're not trading for the Max Scherzer of last season. Max Scherzer was great in the regular season for New York in 2022. He's been okay in 2023. I actually, dare I say that Jordan Montgomery might be a more dependable every 5th day guy right now than Max Scherzer this season?
He could be. I mean, he's kind of been up and down. I mean, you look at the end of June, he went 8 innings pitched, 1 earned run, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned run, and 7. And into July, he's had some really, really good starts, and then he's had a few where, the long ball has cost him. He's given up 3 homers on July 4th, and he got 4 homers on the 22nd. So that's been the problem. If he can limit that, then it's still in there, Chris. It's obviously still in there because he's shown it throughout the year.
Okay, his ERA plus is just slightly above average. It's his lowest since his first season in Detroit in 2011. It's definitely something to keep your eye on. Let's talk about the other interesting team in the American League West, the Angels, who just will not stop. They do not stop. Perry Minasian is like, let's just go for it. Well, last night he picked up a couple of bats. Former Angels first-round picks, C.J. Cron, Randall Grichuk. They sent over a pair of minor league pitchers back to the Colorado Rockies. This is on top of the Giolito Lopez trade. This is on top of the Eduardo Escobar, Mike Moustakas deals. Are we good with what they're doing here? Do we like it? Do we love it? Or has he gone insane?
I think they're fortifying their team around the edges, I guess you could say. And then the injury to Taylor Ward is now that's become a big one, and Grichuk can now kind of slot into left field there. And I think Cron is mostly just going to slot in right to first base right away. Maybe a little platoon situation with him and Moustakas, something like that. We keep saying that the Angels are going all in. I don't know if they're necessarily going all in. I think all in would be we went out and got a Verlander or something like that. But they're definitely doing enough where it's keeping them competitive. And we haven't mentioned them for the division, but what are they back in the division? 4 games, 5 games, something like that.
Hold on one second, because they are 4 back in the wild card, and they are 5 back in the division.
Baseball's a funny thing, man. We talk about how Judge carries the Yankees and what he can do. I think that the Angels have enough to go on a significant run to make a run at the division. Now, I know there's 2 teams ahead of them that we probably like the rosters better, and they've been playing better ball overall through the year, but it's a funny game. If you get hot at the right time and some teams maybe beat up on each other, you could be finding yourself in contention for that division. I'm curious. I'm curious if they go get more, Chris. I really am, because I don't think they've gone all in. I guess you could say maybe because they haven't, or they're not trading Ohtani, that could be considered them going all in. They're keeping him.
Well, that was their biggest decision that they made.
Right. But they haven't brought anybody in that's whoa, oh my goodness. They just have brought in the depth pieces to round out their team. Dude, they need Neto bad. They need Trout back bad. If all that happens, then I'm not throwing away the chance for the Angels to win the division just yet, but I'm not willing to say they've gone all in yet. I actually hope they do more.
Here's a little bit how I describe it, and everybody knows where I stand on the Shohei Ohtani decision. And I think most people are actually backed you with, why not? Let's go for it. Let's not let him out of here. Let's not let him have a taste of eating at somebody else's restaurant because he might want to go there instead of just hang out here for a home-cooked meal the next several years, which I understand. When you're playing poker, if you bluff before the flop, you damn well better keep that thing going all the way through the river. You have to keep doing it.
Yeah,
or there's no sense. There's no sense in checking after the flop or the turn or the rip. You have to keep telling the story. When I used to call poker for a living, that's what the pros would always tell me. Does the story add up? If you started telling a story at the beginning, then you better keep telling the story, the same one at the end. And I will give the Angels this. The minute they pulled Ohtani off the market, they didn't just say, okay, well, we're going to try and we'll see. And we hope that this team does it. They're doing the best that they can. I don't think that they had the prospect capital to go get Max Scherzer. They don't have it to go get Justin Verlander. So what they have is the ability to bring in guys who are on rentals. And they're pretty good players. So we'll see if it works. But at least I understand the strategy.
Dude, do you know what it took the Rangers to get Max Scherzer, Jordan Montgomery, and Chris Stratton? Their third best prospect, their 11th best prospect, and their 14th best prospect. Right? Don't you want your team to do that? Like, I get certain organizations are different as far as like their prospects. I get that. And maybe the Angels' third best prospect isn't Acuna's brother good. I understand that. But I mean, if you're the Angels, like, go get you. I don't know who else is available on the bullpen market, but go get you a couple of those dudes. Like, if you really want to go all in, like, you need to have people that are able to shorten the game. I think their starting pitching could be okay. Like, they have some guys that could really, like, if they all kind of go at the same time, like, you're looking at some guys with some pretty good stuff in that rotation. But, like, let's get some guys to shorten the game. And then I can start to say, okay, you really have kind of gone all in. It would surprise me if this is, and I know they brought 4 people in so far, something like that. So they've made moves, but I want just keep going. You're right, man. That you bluff the turd, bluff the river too. Like, keep going.
Well, I mean, does that mean that you try and go get David Bednar from the Pirates?
Something. And he has years of control, right?
He has years under control for the foreseeable future.
Now, I wouldn't necessarily have to go do that. I don't think you have to go do that, but somebody else that maybe doesn't have 2 or 3 years of control, it's not going to cost you everything. Like, let's go try to make some shifts. And you could have done it, man. You could have gotten David Robertson. You could have gotten Aroldis Chapman, right? Like, Jordan Hicks just went to the Blue Jays for what? I don't even know. Like, you could have done this already. And I wish, and I'm not saying they haven't tried, because we don't know. We only know the teams that make the trades. We don't know who was in the running, right? Most of the time. Mm-hmm. But I'd expect them to continue to be aggressive in that market. At least I hope.
I don't know where you're listening, but boy, it has been a boiling summer. And if you're anything like me, my God, there are times where I am throwing the covers off at night because my sheets are making me boil. Well, I want to tell you a little bit about something that has been inspired by NASA. It is Miracle Made. It uses silver-infused fabrics, makes temperature-regulating bedding so you can sleep at the perfect temperature all night long. Self-cleaning. They are designed for your skin. These sheets are infused with silver that prevent up to 99.7% of bacterial growth, which can clog your pores. It means it allows them to stay cleaner and fresh 3 times longer than other sheets. They're also comfortable, and they are made from quality. Miracle Sheets, luxuriously comfortable. They don't have that high price tag that you'll get with other brands. So we want you to head on over to trymiracle.com/today. And we want you to try out these Miracle Made sheets. And whether you're buying them for yourself or as a gift for somebody else, if you order today, you can save over 40%. And if you use the promo code today at checkout, you're going to get 3 free towels and save an extra 20% on top of it. So you try out these things which regulate the heat, and you get to save money, and you get 3 free towels. It's perfect. Oh, there's one other thing. Miracle's so confident in their product, it's backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee. So if you're not 100% satisfied, and we haven't found somebody that is, you'll get a full refund. So upgrade your sleep. We know how important that is with Miracle Made. Try miracle.com/today. Use that code today to get your 3 free towels and save over 40%. Once again, that is trymiracle.com/today. Treat yourself. You will sleep better and be well rested. We continue on with the Cincinnati Reds, who have reclaimed first place after taking a series out in L.A. against the Dodgers. Speaking of being busy on the trade market, we know what they did last week. Brought in Kike, brought in Ahmed Rosario, and then they bring in 2 pitchers from the White Sox, Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly, who heads back out to the Hollywood area for another stint with the Dodgers. Interesting moves. Good enough for you?
I like the moves. I mean, they're dealing with some injuries, to the rotation. We know that's kind of been what's going on with the Dodgers all season long. They haven't had really like who they thought was going to be their top starting 5 together at all. Kershaw's still on the mend. So I like Lance Lynn to kind of like slot in to be an innings eater. If you get more out of him, that would be great. He's getting up a lot of homers as well. So maybe some pitch mix stuff. He just throws one pitch, so I don't know if that's really kind of what you talk about with Lance Lynn. I think it's good. I like to see them add a bat, like a bench bat. They've added bench pieces. They, like you said, Rosario and Kike, and I like those pieces, but I'd like to see like a Canna come over there, something like that you could throw in against left-handed pitchers, right? At first I thought, yeah, let's get Verlander over there. Let's get another like top of the rotation starting pitcher. And surely that would be great for any team, including the Dodgers. But when you kind of look at it, like if Kershaw is back and you can roll out Kershaw, Gonsolin, Urias, Bobby Miller, and then you have Lance Lynn and some of the other guys behind him, I think that's probably enough. The bullpen, like Joe Kelly, I think is good for the bullpen. He had a great, I think he struck out. I just talked about this on Talking Baseball. Will Benson, with the bases loaded, had a nice little outing there. Like he fits in that bullpen. I think that's a great thing. So I like the moves. Dodgers are a scary team. Like their roster is still very, very good, even though there are some deficiencies, in my opinion, in it. There's still enough like super high end talent. They kind of mask that. I would like to see them add a bench bat or a guy that could even slot in and play left, like who else is there with the Mets? Tommy Pham. Like something like that. If the Mets are selling, go get them.
It feels a little disorganized. I have to be honest with you. Like, I don't get the Lance Lynn pickup. I know that his Ks per 9 are, I think, the best of his career. Other than that, it's been a disaster.
Yeah.
And do you know that you talked about him being an innings eater? Well, teams are feasting on him in the first inning. His ERA is over 10 in the first inning. He's given up a ton of home runs. So how many innings is he really going to eat? Is he going to be a 6-inning guy? Are you happy if he just gets through the order twice? Like, is 4 innings good enough for you? Like,
you could probably piggyback them together.
That part seems weird. I mean, I didn't get it. I just don't get it. I think, I'll be honest with you, I think that team is panicking a little bit. I think they look at and see the stability that the Atlanta Braves have built. And they're going, how the hell are we going to beat them in a series? Maybe we pick up a guy that can go against one of their left-handed relievers and one key at bat. Like, man, doesn't it feel like there's like a half-lap difference between the Braves and the Dodgers?
There does, but this Dodgers offense can swing with anyone. So, and like, I don't see them.
Whose lineup would you rather have?
The Braves. But that doesn't. The Dodgers are right there with them. I mean, dude, don't forget about who they have in that lineup. Yes, dude. Yes.
Are they?
I mean, even
their top four is
even statistically. I mean, they're third in OPS, third in on base percentage, third in runs, second in homers. Like this is yes, they're right there with the Braves, 100%.
Who's ahead of them?
Well, it's like the Rangers, Braves, and Dodgers, and honestly, the Astros will get there. I think the Astros have the potential to get there once everyone is healthy and doing their thing, and they get the numbers back up. They haven't had that all year long, but they can swing with whoever now. Pitching, I think starting pitching when everyone is healthy, they can also go with a lot of different people. The Dodgers are just fine. Like,
okay,
they're a few clicks away from being like, okay, we can't forget about how good they are. Yeah, they're.
I wouldn't hate it if the NLCS is that again for like the third time in 4 or 5 years or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It just feels like the Braves.
Yeah, no, the Braves to me are the best team in baseball.
Yes. Yeah.
No, make no mistake about that. I'm just saying, like, I think this Dodgers offense can go with them. When like prime, yeah.
Interesting. I don't think the Dodgers are done yet. I really don't. I don't know if it's the Ken Rosenthal report about Justin Verlander really, like, they have googly eyes for one another. I could see Verlander wanting to go there in a second. I totally see that. But the rest of it, be curious to see if it works. We know that there's going to be plenty of moves made ahead of Tuesday's deadline, which is 6:00 Eastern. Which GM has got to make sure that his phone is working and dialing out? Get going.
I need Thad Levine and Derek Falvey for my Twins to get it going. L5 right now in the books for them. They just got swept by the Royals. There are some deficiencies with the team. We need a bat. We need a guy that can hit lefties. We need a big bat that can hit lefties. Please, let's go make that happen. And then the bullpen has been an issue. There are some guys who I think can be guys, and they've been hurt. Brock Stewart was a big injury for them. They've had some guys kind of just not get the job done in the back. So besides Duran, like you need some people in the back end because your starters have been good all year long. Now they kind of got banged up in this series against the Royals. I'm not worried about the starting rotation. I'm not. I need bullpen pieces, like late inning, high leverage, bullpen dudes, and then a right-handed bat. Need to, because your Guardians, are now a half game back.
Mm-hmm.
The Twins are supposed to run away with this thing. All the models say the Twins have a great chance to win the Central, 70%, all this stuff. And then you throw an L5 up there. And all of a sudden you're a half game up. You got to make some moves. You cannot stand pat and just say, well, wait for guys to get healthy, or maybe things will turn around against left-hand pitchers. No, we got to pick up the phone. We got to do some moves.
Do you believe that teams are calling the Twins about their starting pitching depth? Do you believe that part?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. But they cannot. If they trade Sonny Gray, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. I'm telling you right now, he is such a leader in that clubhouse. It would devastate the clubhouse. He is the guy that keeps that rotation confident and keeps them like these guys are having great years. It's because of Sonny. Like Sonny's the guy in there, like making sure everyone's prepared, hyping these guys up. Like he's they see Sonny do it, like I can do it too. Like that's like we're all in this together. If Sonny's gone, it's a whole different dynamic in that clubhouse.
Wouldn't he also get the ball in game 1 of a series, by the way?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what they're thinking about. Like if that happens, I will say this. Bailey Ober's been unbelievable.
He had he's been like Mr. Reliable, like quality start king. Bad start against the Royals, but like other than that, he's been
But other
great.
than that, he's been phenomenal.
The Nightmare. Call him by his nickname that I gave him.
The Nightmare. I like that.
The Nightmare. Yeah.
For me, I know this team won 2 of 3 this weekend and spanked the Yankees on Sunday Night Baseball. But Mike Elias, let's get to work. This is, in my opinion, a World Series lineup, a World Series bullpen. It is not a World Series rotation. And people will say, well, listen, they've been fine during the regular season. They've made do. They just sent Tyler Wells down to Double-A. Like we just talked about, Sonny Gray's getting the ball in game one. Who's getting the ball in game one for the Orioles? Do we definitely know who that is?
Bremer. Gibby.
Okay. I mean,
I don't know.
Right. I don't know, I think is the correct answer. Now, they've had some guys who've done a nice, solid job, and I don't know how many dudes are left. Like, is Justin Verlander going to sign off going back to close to where he grew up so he could pitch there the next couple of years? Maybe he might look at that talent and say, damn, man, there is a hell of a lot of talent, and it would be fun to kind of join him for the ride. Possible. Not probable, but possible. Are there other guys? Is there an Eduardo Rodriguez to be had? Let's remember, he was in the Orioles organization at the beginning of his career. Never pitched for them in the big leagues. He was traded one up for Andrew Miller to Boston. But he's got 11 games of playoff experience. He's got 4 starts. He's had a really solid year.
They're going to make a move. They're going to make a move. They're making a move, Chris. If they don't, I would be shocked, dude. I will be shocked if Erod, Lorenzen, I thought Stroman was going to go somewhere. It sounds like he's not at all, but I think they're still probably entertaining offers. Something's got to give. I totally agree with you. The Orioles need to get a starting pitcher.
Unless he picks up the phone, calls AJ Preller and says, listen, tell me who you want off this roster for Blake Snell. Tell me who you want. And that could be fascinating. I don't think that the Padres are moving off of Blake Snell or Josh Hader, but there could be some offer out there that'll knock your socks off. We'll see. I can't wait for the next 24 hours. Before we get out of here on the podcast and YouTube side of things, better way to finish a game over the weekend. Was it the Bobby Witt grand slam off of Duran? Holy smokes, he turned that thing around after a great at-bat. Or was it the Mike Tauchman, let's save it in St. Louis, Alec Burleson, have a seat. He thought he had a walk-off 2-run shot. Instead, Tauchman doesn't go to the wall, goes over the wall, glove hand, and brings it back. Which one was better?
Well, I just talked about the Bobby Witt, and I gave him my award on Talking Baseball. If you want to go check that out, go ahead. I'll say the Tauchman. I mean, if you're Burleson and you hit that ball and you see him going up to the wall, and you usually you think that ball's got a chance, and you see him bring it back to win the freaking game when you could have walked the game off. Like two crazy different emotions. Like you're about to be the hero, and instead some other dude's the hero. That was incredible. And the Cubs needed that.
That is incredible. You so rarely see a game end on a play like that. So that was awesome. Only thing that would make the Bobby Witt close is that it was a grand slam. Walk-off grand slam is amazing. Yeah. But then his reaction, the bat flip, it was like Pedro Serrano in the movie Major League, where he literally carried the bat all the way almost to first base before flipping it. We saw Bregman do that in the World Series, I think, a few years ago in 2019 or something. Soto did it. Yeah, so that sort of stuff was great. And the reaction of the little girl who would come all the way from Georgia, I think, in order to see her favorite player, and she had tears in her eyes, the whole bit. Like,
wait, go back to that swing. Hold on. Go back to that swing, Dan, you were just showing right there. He pulls his hands in. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That thing was about to
couple of days.
That thing was about to buzz through his bat and make it firewood, but he pulled the hands in and got the barrel on it just in the nick of time.
Yeah. It was some good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Love it. Speaking of good stuff, we've got the dude of the Milwaukee Brewers, Christian Yelich, on the latest episode of the Rose Rotation. We recorded that Friday before they got swept out of Atlanta. So he was in a much more cheery mood than I'm sure he was Sunday night. Some really good stories. Great stories about what he was watching the night before doing our show. It was hilarious. We'll put that clip out.
Okay.
Go find the story anyway.
Was it Baseball Today?
What's that?
Was he watching Baseball Today on YouTube?
No, I don't think so. I think he was watching something else in his palatial suite in Atlanta. He talked about how he got called up to the big leagues since he had just celebrated his 10-year anniversary in the show. Mm-hmm. That was some good stuff. Really, and the scoreboard operator story where he was talking, they put up the trash talk to Ellie De La Cruz. Yeah. By the way, That thing's starting to get out of hand. I didn't like the bullshit that the Marlins did yesterday with the Tigers players up there.
I didn't see it,
Putting up
but
there
I'm not a fan
65%
of it.
Now, listen, it's okay to have fun and stuff. Try not to be the fun police. That's some bullshit. Let's not rip on cities for stuff like 65% of people have moved out of metropolitan Detroit since 2000. Like, fuck, come on. Kids, you're not being smart. You're being snarky. And by the way, if I run an organization, it doesn't make us look good. It doesn't make us look smart. It doesn't make us look better. I mean, what are you trying to do? Just by dumping on some people? Like, we could have fun. Try and figure out where that line is and don't cross it. Because if you worked for me, you'd be out. You'd be out.
John Boy Media's motto: fun over funny. I think that's a great thing to think about.
That is very, very good. All right, we're back at it again tomorrow. Vinny Pasquantino is going to be in for Trevor Plouffe, who will be on assignment. I can't wait to hear about that. That'll be awesome. So for our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the uber-talented Trevor Plouffe, I am Chris Rose. We will see you Tuesday, trade deadline day on Baseball Today.